Dear brothers and sisters, we hear today about the lesson concerning forgiveness, concerning mercy, and the love of enemies is one of the hallmarks of being a Christian. If we call ourselves a Christian, but we can hardly ever forgive anyone, much less our enemies, we have no right to be called Christians. That's exactly what Jesus is trying to say. Now let's face it, all of us, we are very different. We have come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different languages. We have different interests and values, and of course different personalities. And because we are all so different, I tell you, missed expectations, miscommunication, disappointments and conflict, it will happen. It is part and parcel of us being so diverse, being so different. And while we can celebrate the difference, or we can harp on the difference. So I like what the first reading is saying. He says, resentment and anger, these are foul things that is inside the heart of a sinner, right? And then he also says, you creatures of the flesh, you cherish resentment, you cherish this thing. Have you ever felt yourself feeling that way? Now when a person is very angry, sangat marah, but we are holding on to this anger because it feels right. Have you ever felt that way? Of being angry with a person and you feel that it's justified, that you should be angry, that you should not forgive? That is the natural tendency of the human person. But that is so not the nature of God. The nature of God is revealed in the gospel. Who will forgive 10,000 talents because he felt so sorry for the servant. That servant of his, the wicked servant, he can even feel sorry for him. God knows us. When we say that, oh God, I will not sin again, after we go for confession, I think he jolly well knows that we will. But he feels so sorry for us that he will forgive us and give us another chance. Because that is the very nature of God. Brothers and sisters, we are asked to become more and more like God. To have His characteristics, to have His Spirit in us. That's the whole idea of being baptized and being confirmed, so that the Spirit of God resides in us. It's not us who forgive, it's the Spirit of God within us that propels us to be able to allow this to happen. Allow the goodness of God to extend to others and to free others and to free ourselves. If we live in resentment, if we live in anger forever, and we refuse to address it, we refuse to forgive, that is already hell, I think. We are actually very stupid. Because not only are we charting our route to hell for all eternity, we already very happily start the hell on earth. Pandai kan? Very crazy. Not enough eternity. Lagi we want our, how many years we have on earth, ruined by resentment and by anger. But that's precisely what the devil wants. He wants to ruin us as much as possible. While God, on the other hand, wants to give us life as much as possible. Given these two choices, life or death, is it very hard to make the choice? Seems very easy to make that choice. But yet when we see within ourselves, ask ourselves, who am I angry with today? Who am I still angry with today? And I think perhaps the whole reason is because we don't understand that people are different and yet they can be beautiful. You know what I mean? It's like you may not think like the other person, but you can still appreciate the beauty of the person. For spouses, married couples, there's a great danger of trying to change each other. Oh, after I marry him or after I marry her, I would change him or her into something, Of course, we're not saying that we are perfect and that we don't need to be changed. I'm sure all of us, we are imperfect. There are many ways we can learn from our spouses, yes. But if we expect, we want the person to do according to our own will, again, we are setting ourselves for missed expectations. We are setting up ourselves for conflict. And hopefully, I really don't wish it for it, but resentment may just creep in if there is no forgiveness. Forgiveness is the one antidote for all of this because it comes directly from God. Receive this gift. We have received the gift of forgiveness. It's now our turn to give away the gift of mercy. And when we do that, I tell you, we will be free from resentment. Let us don't begin our hell today. Oh my goodness, that's probably the worst idea in the whole world. No. Let's say no to unforgiveness. Let us say no to resentment. Let's say no to all these grudges. And let us say yes to life. Let us say yes to building each other up. And the only way of doing that is through forgiveness. Brothers and sisters, in this Mass, I pray that we will meditate on how great a love God has for every one of us when He died for us on the cross. And when He died, He didn't die for good people. The people wanted to kill Him, the people wanted to spit at Him, the people wanted to curse Him. He loved us even as we hated Him. That is forgiveness. And we are asked to become like that. Who are you still angry with? A little story that I forgot to insert. It's about this man who found it so difficult to forgive. I met him when I was serving in the prisons in Singapore. He came up to me one day, he said, "Friar, I cannot forgive." Because what happened was, he was in prison. In your prison, we have a lot of enemies. And one day, while at the dining hall, this other man, he took a plastic bag full of his feces, dia punya tahi. He put inside the plastic bag, just waiting for my friend. When he saw my friend, he threw the whole thing at him. Okay. So he says it was so humiliating for him. It's impossible for him to forgive this man, because wherever he goes, he will be known as the man who cannot throne. And he asked me, how can I forgive? I want to forgive, but I don't know how to forgive. And I think God allowed us to see that when our hands are full, even if God wants to give you a new gift, you cannot receive it. Am I right? If our hands are already full of hatred, of the memory of that hurt, and we refuse to let it go, there is no way peace, joy, forgiveness can ever be given to you. Your hands are full, my hands are full. Only if we dare to let it go to the Lord, let it down, then some new thing can happen. And I hope this is a small takeaway as we finish this Mass. And I pray that we all will be touched by God's mercy. and in turn we touch others with His mercy.